Hello everyone, my name is Rajni Jha. Welcome to PIB Weekly Analysis at Drishti IAS. In today's session, we are going to cover some of the most important pieces of news from the 6th of July to 12th of July from PIB. Let's get started. The first piece of news that we have is UDISE Plus Report 2025-26. What is this? UDISE stands for Unified District Information System for Education. Now, this is the plus model, which is the advanced model of UDISE, advanced and digital model of UDISE. What is UDISE? UDISE is the India's largest school education database. It is the largest school education database managed by Ministry of Education. Now, it actually talks about pupil-teacher ratio, dropout rates, it talks about enrollment, it talks about student retention. It has database about school education from pre-primary level to class 12th level. So in this report, that is UDISE Plus report, we have seen that the pupil-teacher ratio improved at all levels and remains better than NEP norm, that is 30:1. NEP norm is 30:1, which means according to National Education Policy, for every 30 students, there should be at least one teacher. And now we are performing better than that. The number of teachers has increased by 8.3%. Then dropout rates declined, especially in the preparatory level and secondary level, meaning that what happens is normally students take admission, but then they drop out. Preparatory level is from 3rd to 5th standard, and secondary level is in 9th, 10th standard. They usually drop out. So that rate has also declined. Student retention has increased and gross enrollment ratio improved. What is gross enrollment ratio? For example, I'm talking about, let's say, class 9th and 10th student, and the age group will be 14-15 years of age. So in 14-15 years of age, let's say there are total 1,000 students, and out of those, maybe 500 only enrolled themselves. So this ratio is approximately 50%. So gross enrollment ratio talks about what is the enrollment of the student from that specific age group, from the total number in that specific age group. More students are successfully transitioning from one stage of schooling to the next stage of schooling. The number of single teacher schools, because there were a lot of single teacher schools earlier, meaning let's say a school is a primary school, so it has classes up till 5th standard, and there was only one teacher for all the subjects, all the classes. That is single teacher school. And zero enrollment schools, meaning there are schools but there were no students, there were no enrollments. So that has also decreased. Schools infrastructure has increased, and very important, female teachers constitute 54.9% of the teaching workforce. Now, there is improvement, as we can see here, and it is in alignment with National Education Policy 2020. So what you need to remember is the full form UDISE. UDISE Plus is the digital form, the digital version, upgraded version of UDISE system. It is a data collection system where there is data about school education from pre-primary to class 12th. Now that is important. Then it comes under Ministry of Education. Okay, next is ULPIN DIGIPIN. Now I'll read the news, but before that, let's understand this a little bit. This is about land. This is about a piece of land or land parcel. ULPIN is like the Aadhaar number of that land, the identification of that land. And DIGIPIN is the location of that land. So the integration of ULPIN and DIGIPIN, what it will do is mainly whatever plot or land is there, it will identify which land we are talking about and where exactly it is there. Where exactly is the location of that land. The integration talks about first, which land are we talking about, and second, where exactly it is located. So ULPIN DIGIPIN integration. So basically Department of Land Resources, they held a meeting with National Institute of Urban Affairs and the Department of Post to strengthen this integration. ULPIN is Unique Land Parcel Identification Number, just like we have our Aadhaar number. This is Land Parcel Identification Number. Identification number for a piece of land. It provides every rural and urban land parcel with a unique digital identity. And then DIGIPIN is India's geo-referenced digital addressing system, meaning this is just written in a complicated language. Geographical referenced digital addressing system. Basically, it tells exactly where it is addressed, where exactly it is located. So ULPIN will provide the identification of which land parcel I'm talking about, and DIGIPIN will tell where exactly is that land parcel located. So this integration, how will it help? It will help in whole of government approach. Now, what is whole of government approach? Whole of government approach means that different ministries and departments, they work together towards something rather than acting separately. That is whole of government approach. So in land department, in this Department of Land Resources, here Department of Land Resources, Department of Post and other ministries and agencies will work together. So this will improve the interoperability as well. Otherwise, what happens? Different agencies are working differently, separately, and there is no coordination among themselves, which leads to a lot of delays also in a lot of processes. So this will smoothen that out, enhance public service delivery, of course, and strengthen India's digital public infrastructure. We have already talked about digital public infrastructure in our last session. You will tell me what exactly is the meaning of digital public infrastructure. So this is aimed at integrating these two things so that whole of government approach can be improved, so that all the ministries and departments and agencies can work together, because every information is anyway online now. They can identify which land parcel we are talking about and where it is located. So they can integrate, they can coordinate among themselves because of this integration. Next is India-Australia Agreement on Traditional Knowledge Digital Library. Yes, very important. Again, see, most of the news that we have, most of the pieces of news that we have in this week are prelims heavy. They are not very mains heavy, but they are prelims heavy. So let's talk about this Traditional Knowledge Digital Library first. We know for a fact that a physical library is the one where books are kept, right? But this is not a physical library, this is a digital library, which means it is online. Second, it does not have books per se, it has traditional knowledge. India has a lot of traditional knowledge, for example, related to yoga, related to Siddh, Unani, Ayurveda, especially Ayurveda. So all these traditional knowledge, all the information related to these traditional knowledge will be there in this digital library. Now let's see what the news is about. It says India and Australia signed an agreement giving IP Australia access to India's traditional knowledge digital library. Now why would I do that? Because so that if, let's say, a company comes up with what are the benefits of neem and they want to patent it, but we know for a fact that we have been using neem for its benefits for a very long time now. It is there in our Ayurveda, right? Or the benefits of turmeric. So we know this knowledge already exists in India, so that in this library, this knowledge will be available. And if somebody from Australia, if a company from Australia tries to patent it, they'll first check whether this knowledge is there in the digital library, Indian digital library. If it is there, then they won't be able to patent it. So that's how it will help. During the third, it's not important. The agreement aims to prevent misappropriation and patenting of India's traditional knowledge. Of course, if somebody knows that this knowledge already exists, somebody else cannot patent it. And for that, they need that knowledge first. For that, this digital library is going to help. So this TKDL, that is Traditional Knowledge Digital Library, was established in 2001 by CSIR. You have to tell me the full form of CSIR in the comment section. And along with it, the Ministry of Ayush. Then this is world's first database for protecting traditional knowledge. As I told you, India contains so much information, approximately 5.2 lakh formulations and practices related to Ayurveda or Yoga or Siddh, Unani, etc. So this database has been translated into English, German, French, Japanese and Spanish. Why? So that people from different languages can also look at this information, right? It will be easier to access. Next is Prime Minister's visit to Prime Minister's visit to Prambanan Temple Complex, Indonesia, accompanied by Indonesian President. All right. So here we are talking about the fact that because Prime Minister's visit is important generally also, but here it is especially important because we have decided that we are going to help Prambanan Complex revive. India is going to help Prambanan Complex revive, and that is why it is an important piece of news for us. Now, this project will help restore and revive Prambanan Complex or temple. Why is this temple important for us? Is this news important for us? No. But this temple is important for us. Why? Because it can be asked in prelims. It was built in 9th century and it is Indonesia's largest Hindu temple complex. It is dedicated to Trimurti. What are Trimurti? Brahma, Vishnu and Shiv. So it is dedicated to Brahma, Vishnu and Shiv. And it was previously, so it's not like this is the first time that India is undertaking such restoration activity. India has also undertaken such restoration activity earlier as well, especially in Borobudur temple compounds, and this is a UNESCO heritage site. This is a UNESCO heritage site. Okay. Next is Center of Excellence on Human Wildlife Conflict. All right. So very important. First, let's understand the core or the main context of this news. Then we will understand what they're trying to tell you. So the main point here is human wildlife conflict. Why does that happen? Usually human wildlife conflict happens when they cross path with each other in such a way that they cause some harm to each other. For example, lions or tiger, they enter village area or towns, right? Or humans start encroaching the forest areas, so they are destroying their habitat. So anything that can cause harm to either human or wildlife because of their interaction, that is human wildlife conflict. Now, Union Environment Minister inaugurated a Center of Excellence. There is a Center of Excellence on Human Wildlife Conflict in WII SECON, Coimbatore. And mainly this national hub, what it will do is, it will mainly work on the research, innovation, policy support, and mainly these conflict, the human wildlife conflict that happened, how to resolve them, how to manage them. Now here we also talked about WII SECON. Now this, what is this? This is in Coimbatore, and it is the joint center by two institutions. First is WII, which is Wildlife Institute of India, located in Dehradun, Uttarakhand, and the second is SECON, which is Salim Ali Center for Ornithology and Natural History, which is located in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, right? Now, they have created a Center of Excellence, but at the same time, they have also created a portal, online portal. Which portal is that? National Human Wildlife Conflict Portal. This is a digital platform where data can be managed, where knowledge can be shared, and information about these conflicts can be shared. Why is it done? Because these conflicts keep happening and they destroy, well, first habitat, they damage the wildlife and humans both, right? So in order to manage these conflicts, this was set up. And there's also a report which was released called Current Status of Human Wildlife Conflict in India, and Overview. And in this workshop, there was conflict discussed between human elephant, human big cat, and the technologies, how to mitigate such conflicts, how to manage such conflicts. That is what is discussed. Now, as you must have guessed, this is very important for prelims point of view. That's all. We just need to know where the Center of Excellence is. We just need to know about this, the two institutions that work together for it. And there's a portal that is launched alongside the Center of Excellence. That is it. Again, prelims based question, not very important for our mains, or maybe you can write in answers if it is relevant. Next is Guinness World Record plantation drive using the Miyawaki method. All right, the people of Gandhinagar Lok Sabha constituency created a Guinness World Record by planting over 3.61 lakh saplings in 1 hour using the Miyawaki method. What is Miyawaki method? Miyawaki method was introduced by a Japanese botanist called Akira Miyawaki. Akira Miyawaki. So what exactly is done in this method, in the Miyawaki method? In this method, many native plant species are grown alongside each other in one area, one complex, alongside each other, and these trees grow much faster because they are alongside each other, and these grow much faster. Then because of this, in the small area itself, dense forests are created, and once the forests are created, it does not need a lot of investment later. It does not require a lot of maintenance later. So because of this rapid growth, Miyawaki forests are usually developed in urban areas, because here we require rapid growth, right? So this is important because it went for Guinness World Record. And Miyawaki method, what exactly is Miyawaki method? That is important for you. The Union Home Minister congratulated Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation. More than 25,000 volunteers volunteered, local citizens volunteered, not very important for us. Under public plantation campaign, more than 1.26 crore saplings were planted. And next important part in this piece of news is this: Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam, as the name suggests, it is plant trees. It is about planting more trees. You plant one tree in the name of your mother. It roughly translates to. So this initiative is directly linked to that, because here also we are talking about planting trees, planting more trees. Okay. Why would this campaign be useful? Why would it help? It would help because it creates oxygen parks. What are oxygen parks? Especially in the urban areas or in the town areas, there are certain areas, complexes, park where there are a lot of plants. They are called oxygen parks. Why are they helpful? Because they act as carbon sink. What is carbon sink? Carbon sink. Sink is sink is a place where everything just goes down, right? It is removed. So carbon sink is a place where a lot of plants are there, and plants in general are also called carbon sink. Why? Because they absorb carbon dioxide. They utilize carbon dioxide, and in that area the amount of carbon dioxide goes down, so greenhouse gases goes down, and the amount of greenhouse gases goes down, and the amount of oxygen is higher. The air is cooler as compared to the other areas, the warmer areas. The air is fresher as compared to the other areas, and the carbon dioxide content is less. So it helps in development of oxygen park, restoration of ponds, and large-scale afforestation efforts. Again, what exactly is important for us is Miyawaki method, this campaign, what is it related to, and the fact that this effort has been recorded in the Guinness World, and what are oxygen parks. So that is important for us. Next is DRDO successfully tests Pinaka long-range guided rocket. Okay, so we know about rockets. There's only one part that you should know, which is long-range guided. What does it mean? In the previous session, I told you that the missiles can be, or missiles or rockets can be long range, medium range, short range, and very short range, depending on where they are close to your house, right? We talked about it in the last class. So we know long range. What is guided? Guided means that they can change their path once they are launched. So normally what happens in rockets and missiles, you launch them and they will just go where they are directed at. But the guided missiles or guided rockets are the one that can change their path because they have GPS system or they are connected to a satellite. So let's say you launch them here, but if the target changes or moves its position, they can also change or move the position. That's what is guided rocket. So DRDO successfully flight tested the Pinaka long range guided rocket, and you also should know that this is an indigenous rocket, meaning it is grown in India mostly. So it is an indigenously developed guided rocket system made by DRDO for Indian Army, and this was flight tested in Chandipur, Odisha. The rocket was tested, this is important, minimum range is 60 km. It was tested for 60 km. It was developed by ARDE, HEMRL and DRDL. Usually if in prelims the statement is given, they don't mess with the statement a lot because the names are very long. So they usually don't mess with it a lot. Even if you remember the acronyms, you will be able to mark it correctly. Next is INS Mahendragiri commissioned into Indian Navy. Okay. Now Mahendragiri is the 6th stealth frigate. Now the question is, what is stealth frigate? In science and technology, we keep learning these words, but we don't really understand what that means. Whoa, so what is stealth frigate? See, frigate is a medium-sized warfare. It is medium-sized. Frigate is anything that is medium-sized. So medium-sized warfare is frigate. What is stealth? Stealth is built in such a way that it is very difficult for the enemy to detect it. So stealth frigate will be a medium-sized warfare that is very difficult to be detected by enemy radar, sonar or other surveillance system. So Indian Navy commissioned INS Mahendragiri. So for this you will remember that it is stealth frigate, 6th stealth frigate under Project 17A at Visakhapatnam. It is also, most of its content is indigenous, made in India. So 75% indigenous content is there. And the warship is equipped with advanced weapons. We have seen all these in our previous session. BrahMos missile, it has BrahMos missile, air defense system, anti-submarine system, stealth technology. We have seen all these in just the previous lecture. So if you haven't watched that, go and watch that as well in the previous PIB lecture. Okay, it will strengthen India's blue water capabilities. Of course, it will make us strong in the waters, in the water system, in the navy system, right? In the other areas. So Sagar is, here you can see there is Sagar vision written. Sagar is security and growth of all in the region. So we are going to aim to ensure security and cooperation in the Indian Ocean region, all the regions, especially the Indian Ocean regions. So it will improve our blue water navy, blue water capabilities. So navy capabilities which are around the coastline, India's coastline, even far in the India's coastline, we are going to strengthen them because of this. Next is, the Ministry of MSME has made it mandatory for all central public sector enterprises to settle invoices of MSME suppliers through the Trade Receivables Discounting System, TReDS. See, before I tell you what the news is about, let's understand what TReDS is, right? So let's say there is an MSME. Now, first of all, you have seen it is about MSME, so it is going to help them. So let's say there is a small company. MSME is micro, small, medium enterprise, small company, right? So let's say there is a small company and that sells or supplies machinery worth 10 lakh rupee to the government company. So there is a small company that supplies 10 lakh rupee worth machinery to the government company. Now what that small company would do, small company will create invoice of 10 lakh and upload it on TReDS, right? So the small company is selling equipment to government companies worth 10 lakh. Now for the 10 lakh, that small company will create an invoice and upload on TReDS. Now, once it is uploaded on TReDS and approved by a buyer, the banks and non-banking financial corporation, that is NBFCs. So the banks, what they do is they will provide money. They will bid to provide money against that invoice. So invoice has been created, banks will provide money. So initially itself, MSME get most of their money that they require, right? Because they have sold the equipment and they'll get the money right then and there. Then on the due date, government pays those banks based on this invoice. That's how it works. So what exactly is TReDS? TReDS is an online platform which is first regulated by RBI, very important. It's an online platform regulated by RBI and it was launched in 2017. Must be written somewhere. Yes, it was launched in 2017. What it does, it creates money quickly for the small MSMEs, medium, small, micro, small, medium enterprises. It creates money quickly. The MSMEs don't have to wait for a very long time to get the money. That is the benefit of TReDS. So it ensures faster payment to MSME, ensures and improves cash flow, working capital for them, right? So the news says, now let's read the news now that we have understood. Ministry of MSME has made it mandatory. Now, yes, the ministry had made it mandatory for all central public sector enterprises. They have to settle the invoices MSME have created on TReDS. That's what it is about. Next. Next is Index of Services Production. Now, I'm sure you must have read about IIP. What is that? Index of Industrial Production. IIP is Index of Industrial Production, and every month it is released by government to track companies, industries. It is for industrial production. So it is released every month by government to track industrial production or industries such as manufacturing, mining, electricity, etc. But this is for industries. What about services? We did not have one for services to track the growth of service sector. For that, now we have Index of Service Production. As the name suggests, that was industries production. This is for service production. So Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has released the report of Technical Advisory Committee on Index of Service Production. And the base year for Index for Service Production would be 2024 and 25. Base years are always important. This is very important that it's especially for services production because we did not have any as of now. We had for industrial. And it is developed as high frequency monthly indicator. What does that mean? High frequency means which is released repeatedly. So since this is released every month, it is high frequency monthly indicator to measure the performance of service sector. Now we know for a fact that services sector contribute the maximum in our economy. They contribute about 53% of India's gross value added. So we should be tracking these as well. They contribute the maximum to our economy. We should be tracking these so that we can make improvements if required in services sector as well. This index will complement the Index of Industrial Production, as I told you. So we will be tracking both industries and services now. This will help our economy grow better. Okay, next is Kamarajar Port. Okay, so Kamarajar Port achieved 18-meter draft capability. First, you will tell me where exactly is the location of Kamarajar Port, which state is it located in, and what is draft exactly? Draft is the capability of a port to create depth where the ship will dock itself, right? Draft is the depth of water required for a ship to enter and leave safely. So if it is 18-meter draft, that means the depth is very high, which means very large ships can also dock here. You understand? Draft means the depth required for a ship to enter and leave safely. So if there is a deeper draft, which means bigger ships can also dock there. So 18-meter draft means very big ships, especially Cape size vessels, which are one of the largest vessels, they can dock here. That is important. Now for, again, this is a very prelims based question, which is the 18-meter draft capability port we have, which is Kamarajar. This is the second port with such capability. The first one was Vishakhapatnam port. Okay, and it is to attain an operational draft of 18 meters following the completion of capital dredging phase 6 project. Now see, in general, this is not very important for us. If you want to understand what is dredging here, it says capital dredging phase 6 project. Dredging is when the sand, mud or sediments are removed from the seabed so that the depth can be increased. The depth, if the depth is high, bigger ships can dock themselves there. If the depth is lower, bigger ships won't be able to dock themselves there. So this is important because here there is 18-meter draft. That means very large vessels will be able to dock themselves here. Okay, next is TribeX. Again, very prelims based, prelim specific sort of news. TribeX, digital learning platform for tribal heritage. As the name suggests, it is about tribal heritage because from there itself the name has been taken, TribeX. Released by Ministry of Tribal Affairs, launched by Ministry of Tribal Affairs. It is a digital learning platform dedicated to tribal art, culture, heritage, traditional knowledge, skill development, etc. Right? And where it was launched, although that is not important for us, what is important is what exactly is this, who launched it, which ministry launched it, and what it aims to do. So it aims to preserve, promote, and globally showcase India's tribal heritage, tribal culture, tribal knowledge, right, through a digital technology. Now, this platform will offer free certificate courses, UGC recognized postgraduate diploma programs, and learning opportunity in tribal language, arts, and crafts. So, if we want to improve something, if we want to promote something, it's imperative that we introduce that into our curriculum or in the course. So, let's say I want to keep a language alive, I should start teaching that language. People should start studying that language, right? So now I want to keep tribal knowledge alive. So I introduced courses for it. UGC recognized postgraduate diploma regarding this so that people study it. And the more people study it, the more it will stay alive, the more people will get to know about it. Okay, so TribeX hosts 20 free certification courses with plans to expand over to 100 courses. Next is SEED scheme. This is scheme for economic empowerment of DNTs. What are DNTs? DNTs are denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic communities. Denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic communities. What are denotified communities? Denotified communities are the communities that were labeled as criminal tribes. Denotified communities are the communities that were labeled as criminal tribes under British rule, and during independence this label was removed from them. So they were later denotified. So denotified were initially criminal tribes under British rule. Later they were denotified after independence. What are nomadic? Nomadic are people who move from one place to another. So these are the communities that keep moving from one place to another for their livelihood. And semi-nomadic means these are the communities that are partly settled and partly mobile. They can move sometimes, they are also settled sometimes, right? So they are partly mobile and partly settled. They are semi-nomadic tribes. So SEED scheme is important because it talks about these DNTs. You should know what SEED stands for. The scheme for economic empowerment of DNTs. What are DNTs? Denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic communities. What are these? You should know. Which ministry is this under? It is under Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. What is the implementing body? Implementing body is Development and Welfare Board for denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic communities. Target groups, as I told you, it is DNTs mainly. The target groups are DNTs, NTs and SNTs. The same, like I said, denotified, nomadic and semi-nomadic. And the focus area is their economic empowerment. How will that happen? By education, right? By healthcare, by entrepreneurship, by livelihood support. So that's how we are thinking of making them economically empowered. All right. The next is The next is one last mission, which is Submission on Agricultural Mechanization. It was launched in 2014-15 under Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. And what is the idea of this scheme? The idea is, as the name suggests, agricultural mechanization, introducing machines in agriculture. So it is farm mechanization, especially among small marginal farmers, women, SCs, STs, self-help groups, etc. Right? What is the aim of this scheme? The aim of this scheme is to improve agricultural productivity. Of course, because we usually introduce machines in any area to improve productivity. So here we are trying to mechanize agriculture to improve agricultural productivity by promoting modern machineries for sowing, irrigation, harvesting, etc. 30% of the funds are reserved for women farmers. That's important. If there is question on empowerment and what government is doing, you can use these, right? These data. Subsidy of 40% for machine cost for general farmers, then subsidy of 50% for SC/ST farmers, small and marginal farmers and beneficiaries in the Northeast. And not just that, Northeastern states receive special support, including up to 100% subsidy for some machinery, not all, but some machinery. And in this, we are also using drones. In this mechanization, we'll be using drones as well for spraying fertilizers, nutrient, pesticides, etc. Okay. So like I said, most of the pieces of news that we have this week are most prelims heavy, but nonetheless, I've tried to include everything that I can. Now we'll move on to the prelims practice question. I have brought 2 questions for you and you'll be answering those questions in the comment section below. Let's look at the first question. It says, with reference to UDISE+, consider the following statements. First, it is managed by Ministry of Education. Second, it collects data only from secondary and senior secondary schools. And third, it is an upgraded digital version of an earlier UDISE system. You have to tell me which of these are correct. Option A, 1 and 3 only, B, 2 only, C, 1 only, or D, 1, 2 and 3 only. And there is one more question I have for you. Question number 2, consider the following statements regarding ULPIN and DIGIPIN. ULPIN provides a unique identity to land parcels. DIGIPIN is India's geo-referenced digital addressing system. And third, both are implemented solely by Ministry of Education. You have to tell me which of these is correct. Option A is 1 only, B is 1 and 2 only, C is 2 and 3 only, or D, 1, 2 and 3 only. So that's it for today's session. I really hope that you've understood that I was trying to explain and you really enjoyed the lecture. And please do answer these questions in the comment section below. I personally go through the comment section. So if you want to say anything, you can write in the comment section again. So that's it for today's session. Thank you so much for joining in. Until next time, take care.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.